Hey guys, welcome to day 30 of Read the Bible and Read the Chronological Bible in a Year. So I think we just finished reading with the rebuttal from Elu, this young character that just pops up into the story of Job, and he's basically defending God's character and His honor. And now we go into day 30, and this is where the Lord speaks to Job. So let's get into it. Okay, so day 30. Finally, God speaks. He asks Job more than 50 questions in his first challenge. Job sits in stunned silence, unable to answer any of his questions. Job wasn't there in the beginning. He is subject to the natural elements, but he cannot explain weather patterns or how God uses weather to care for those depending upon him, or how God uses inclement weather to accomplish his redemptive or disciplinary purposes. God questions Job about the variety of animal life and the wonders of their behavior, forcing Job to see that he is small and God is big. The question reveals Job's limitations, confront his pride, and humble him. God uses questions to confront Adam and Eve in the garden after they sinned. God questioned Cain first about his attitude, then about his actions towards Abel. God questions people to bring them to the end of themselves and to awaken them to things more deeply about him. So let's start with this. So we are in Job 38, 1 through 41. The Lord challenges Job. Then the Lord answered Job from the whirlwind. Who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorant words? Brace yourself like a man, because I have some questions for you, and you must answer them. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, if you know so much, who determined its dimensions and stretched out the surveying lines? What supports its foundations, and who laid its cornerstone? As the morning stars sang together, and all the angels shouted for joy. Who kept the sea inside its boundaries, as it burst from the womb, and as I clothed it with clouds, and wrapped it in thick darkness? For I locked it behind barred gates, limiting its shores. I said, this far and no farther will you come. Here, your proud waves must stop. Have you ever commanded the morning to appear and caused the dawn to rise in the east? Have you made daylight spread to the ends of the earth, to bring an end to the night's wickedness? As the night approaches, the earth takes shape like clay pressed beneath a seal. It is robed in brilliant colors. The light disturbs the wicked and stops the arm that is raising in violence. Have you explored the springs from which the seas come? Have you explored their depths? Do you know where the gates of death are located? Have you seen the gates of utter gloom? Do you realize the extent of the earth? Tell me about it if you know. Where does light come from, and where does darkness go? Can you take each to its home? Do you know how to get there? But of course, you know all this, for you were born before it was all created, and you are so very experienced. Have you visited the storehouses of the snow, or seen the storehouses of hail? I have reached them and I have reserved them as weapons for the time of trouble, for the day of battle and war. Where is the path to the source of light? Where is the home to the east wind? Who created a channel for the torrents of rain? Who laid out the path for the lightning? Who makes the rain fall on barren lands, in a desert where no one lives? Who sends rain to satisfy the parched grounds and makes the tender grass spring up? Does rain have a father? Who gives birth to the dew? Who is the mother of ice? Who gives birth to the frost from heaven? For the water turns to ice as hard as rocks, and the surface of the water freezes. You can direct the movement of the stars, binding the cluster of the Pleiades, or loosen the cords of the Orion. Can you direct the constellations through the seasons, or guide the bear with her cub across the heavens? Do you know the laws of the universe? Can you use them to regulate the earth? Can you shout to the clouds and make it rain? Can you make lightning appear and cause it to strike as you direct? Who gives intuition to the heart and instinct to the mind? Who is wise enough to count all the clouds? Who can tilt the water jars of heaven when the parched ground is dry and the soil has hardened into clods? Can you stalk prey like a lioness and satisfy the young lion's appetite as they lie in their dens or crouch in the thicket? Who provides food for the ravens when they are young, cry out to God and wander about in hunger? The Lord challenges continue. Job 39, 1 through 40. Do you know when the wild goats give birth? Have you watched as deer born in the wild? Do you know how many months they carry their young? Are you aware of the time of their deliverance? They crouch down to give birth to their young and deliver their offspring. Their young grow up in the open fields, then leave home and never return. Who gives the wild donkey its freedom? Who unties its ropes? I have placed it in the wilderness. Its home is the wasteland. It hates the noise of the city and has no drive to shout at it. The mountains are its pastures, where it searches for every blade of grass. Will the wild ox consent to being tamed? Will it spend a night in your stall? Can you hitch a wild ox to a plow? Will it plow a field for you? Given its strength, can you trust it? Can you leave and trust the ox to do your work? Can you rely on it bringing home grain and delivering it to your threshing floor? The ostrich flap their wings greatly, but they are no match for the feathers of the stork. She lays her eggs on top of the earth, letting them be warmed in the dust. She doesn't worry that a foot might crush them or a wild animal might destroy them. She is harsh towards her young, as if they were not her own. She doesn't care if they die, for God has deprived her of wisdom. He has given her no understanding, but whenever she jumps up to run, she passes the swiftest horses with its ride. Have you given the horse its strength, or clothed its neck with a flowing mane? Did you give its ability to leap like locusts? Its majestic snorting is terrifying. It paws the earth and rejoices in strength when it charges out to battle. It laughs at fear and it's unafraid. It does not run from the sword. The arrows rattle against it, and the spear and javelin flash. It paws the ground fiercely and rushes forward into battle when the ram's horn blows. It snorts at sounds of the horn. It senses the battle in the distance. It quivers at the captain's command and its noise of battle. Is it your wisdom that makes the hawk soar and spreads its wing towards the south? Is it your command that the eagles rise to the heights to make its nest? It lives in the cliffs, making its home on distant rocky crag. From there it hunts its prey, keeping watch with precising eyes. Its young gulp down blood. Where there is carcasses, there you'll find it. Then the Lord said to Job, do you still want to argue with the Almighty? You are God's critic, but do you have the answers? Job responds to the Lord. Then Job replied to the Lord, I am nothing. How could I ever find the answer? I will cover my mouth with my hand. I have said too much already. I have nothing more to say. I can't really even imagine like what that must have been for Job. You have Elihu, who basically defends God's character, and then all of a sudden, out of this whirlwind, God just shows up and starts questioning you. And the first statement he says is like, hey, I need you to answer me like a man. Ugh. That's something to ponder on. All right, guys, I'm going to keep this one brief and short. And tomorrow is day 31. We're going to continue with the story and see what other question God has for Job, and see what questions we can answer or have answered. That's always interesting, right? But this is definitely very much a humbling process for Job. And as I read this, I too just want to present myself and humble myself before the Lord and in His presence, because, man, He's worthy. All right, guys. Love y'all. See y'all tomorrow.